Hi guys, Herbalist40 here, and thank you for joining me again today. A bit of a lazy video, to be honest with you. As you can see here, I'm on my one of my editing softwares and kind of decided that I can't be fucked to edit all this into a video because it's kind of abstract, to say the least, as it is for now. But I'm taking a look at Kappa Laburo here, and as you can see, we're about 7 minutes in, or 7.5 minutes in. And as you can see on the screen, it comes up with a reductive analysis of the feminine is a classical archetype of your repression. Now, there's a lot of things going on in this movie, and even in its in-game description it says that it remains unsolved or misunderstood. Now, there's going to be a bit of misconception in what I'm saying here, but it is very difficult to understand what the whole movie pertains to as a whole, because yes, you can get a general idea of it being about Michael and as Antonio, the main character that you can see on the screen here, sleeping, and the story with, in this film, Luigi, who is his dead friend, and his whore wife. You can tie that into Michael, and Michael losing Brad, and the attitude and character that Amanda has. Now, that's fine and easy, and that's just a nice simple way to look at it, and it doesn't really take you anywhere. It's just remains as one of the other things that's just in the game. It happens to be there. It's just one of the many things that Rockstar added. But first of all, let me remind you, Rockstar did not make this movie. They had a third-party company come in and do that for them, which is why so many people have trouble uploading this shit, because Rockstar doesn't own the rights to it, and Rockstar are actually quite friendly and let us upload pretty much everything. However, the people who made this aren't quite as friendly. But my point being here is archetype. That's one word that I needed to look up, and funnily enough, just by looking that up, I came across the fact that, how would I put it? Well, simply really, our friend Gustav Jung, who was the guy I was telling you about working side by side with Sigmund Freud for about 16 years, and then their friendship breaking apart over a woman pretty much, and like certain aspects of psychoanalysis that they disagreed on. But last time I was talking about the id, the ego, and the superego, and that was Freud's idea of things. However, Carl Gustav Jung has been brought up at least a few times in this game so far. So what I found interesting is when I looked into an archetype, because I wasn't sure of what it was, it brought me to this page which basically gives you a good explanation of that. Now, it's called soulcraft.co /essays / the 12 common archetypes.html. So I'll give you the link if you want to go and look at it in greater detail, because there's quite a lot to look at here, and I'm just going to highlight certain points. But basically, we're going to jump to the end of this page and take a look at what's at the bottom, because this is the clearest way to look at it. Now, basically, these are the 4 cardinal orientations. Now, here we have the ego, but bear in mind, this isn't necessarily the same ego that we were talking about when it came to Freud's idea. At the bottom, we have order, then social, and then freedom, and split amongst these cardinal orientations we have different archetypes. Now, these 12 archetypes that you can see here are the ones that, if I'm not mistaken, are attributed to Carl Jung and his research, because there are many others that were found by other psychoanalysts, sorry. And basically these ones here, like, just by scouring over them, which are the 12 general ones, I suppose, fall under 3 categories. Now, the first one, or 4 categories, sorry, the first one being the ego types, and here you have the innocent. And I'm not going to go over the whole thing, because it gives you a motto, a core desire, a goal, a greatest fear, strategy, weakness, talent, and then in the end, it gives, at the end of each one of these, it gives you a possibility of another name the innocent could be known as. So, for example, here it's utopian, traditionalist, naive, mystic, saint, romantic, and dreamer. Which, I'm just going to say why now I'm bringing this up to you in the first place, because straight off the bat, I haven't given much explanation as to why this would be mystery related or game related at all. Now the point here is we've been working on karma, which we can all agree on, I believe now, is an important factor in what we're looking at. And as I've said since the first time I brought it up, it's understanding that karma isn't necessarily doing all good, that sometimes there's a thing called necessary evil, and on top of that there's individuality, which changes your rights and wrongs depending on who you are and what situation you're facing at the time. But I wanted to move further down here because you have the orphan, the regular guy or gal, then the caregiver was the first one that caught my eye. So basically the caregiver here, as you can see, is also known as the saint, the altruist, the parent, the helper, and the supporter. Now, just because it's got altruist in there doesn't mean it has anything to do with the altruist we're looking at in game, but still, understanding what altruism is as a whole is a good start towards your mystery first off. Because if you think that altruist just describes what you're being shown physically in the world of Grand Theft Auto 5, you'd be very, very wrong. This word has a lot of importance in many different situations, and I believe it's necessary to understand what it can also relate to. So for example here, the saint or the parent are the ones that are going to interest me the most. Now, if we move down, for example here we have the rebel. Now the rebel can be known as the revolutionary or the wild man, the misfit or the iconoclast. Now these words, I'm not going to spend half an hour explaining to you what everything here means, but my point being, if you take a look at this website and consider it to be fact, because this is, I've looked at this on several different websites, this is an accurate outline of what Carl Gustav Jung used to describe as fact as far as the human psyche was going. So seeing as he's mentioned multiple times, and seeing as Dr. Friedlander seems to be one of his students or have studied under Jung and Freud, like it seems to be like his two major references, so it's something that we need to attempt to understand at least. Now moving on, I believe the creator was one that interested me most. The artist, the inventor, the innovator, the musician, writer or dreamer. Now again, it doesn't seem 100% mystery related, and you're probably sitting there thinking, well, what can I do with this and why are you showing it to me? Again, I repeat myself, using these facts and applying them to our game will help us understand different people that we're being confronted to. You know, for example, Friedlander, when you get a choice to kill him or let him run, by applying these views of Carl Jung and Sigmund Freud, we can understand which characters are basically not necessary and which ones deserve to live, and therefore in the logic of the game we can play things out in a karma based theory. Now again, the jester, for example, this one here, they just represent it with this little dude on his chair, but the jester initially, if you want to think of a god, would have been Loki, for example, from what's it called, Thor. Loki is the jester, aka the trickster, the fool, practical joker or comedian. Again, these are traits of character that we can apply to certain people that we see in the game and certain situations that they find themselves in. Now, I know it's vast, I know it's a little bit difficult to get your head around, it's a little bit difficult for me to do so as well, but we're just going to move down here, for example, to the sage. Now, again, expert, scholar, detective, advisor, thinker, philosopher, academic, researcher, thinker, planner, professional, mentor, teacher, contemplative. Now, there's a video on YouTube that I saw researching archetypes, which will basically just show you flash images of a ton of different movies and a ton of different children's cartoons and stuff, and it will basically apply each one of these 12 to one of the characters or one of the people in a movie that it was showing, and it was very accurate. And for example, Morpheus was given the father figure, also he appeared as the sage, the expert, the scholar, detective, etc., philosopher, academic, researcher, thinker, planner. That was attributed to Morpheus. And as we move down, we have the magician. Now, a word that caught my eye here isn't going to be relevant just for now, but I want you to remember this word, catalyst. Catalyst is going to be important. and obviously shaman, which we've brought up many times before. This magician's motto is to make things happen. Understanding the fundamental laws of the universe. It's not quite as sci-fi as you think. These attributes are psychological attributes. They're not just science fiction ones. They're not made up. These are actual insights to the human mind and how it works. And then you have 12, the ruler. Now this one is also interesting. The boss, the leader, aristocrat, king, politician, role model, manager or administrator. Now I want to come back just briefly here on a theory that I've had for a long time. We have two people competing in GTA 5 to rule. The first one, Jock Cranley, the second one, Sue Murray. We can't physically vote for either or, but there are websites available, and on said websites there are options and forms that you can fill out. Now it's not a confirmation that you're actually voting for one or the other, but depending on the answers that you give on the various websites might trigger the game to understand a separate path, but that's something that we're going to come back to a little later. For now I want to show you a website in game that has been brought up before, of course, but I don't think anyone's taken it too seriously until now. And this website, as you can see here, is the Vinewood Logline Generator. Amongst many things, the first thing that I noticed, that here basically we're going to scale over it simply, and as you can see, the first thing that you can pick in this Logline Generator, which is, as it says in the title, create and pitch a movie concept to Vinewood producers in seconds. So basically you go through this thing, select all your elements, and then click send, and it goes straight to Vinewood producers, and then they can review your movie and produce it, per se. I'm not sure if that's how Michael went through his movie, I doubt it, but basically the start here, as you can see, character flaw appears in the form of an eye. Pretty undeniable there. And then to the right you have the character strength. Now there's some very interesting things here that stand out to me. Now the first one being, you can't actually see it right now, if I get the if I can get the bloody cursor on there with this camera in my hand, there we go. Okay, I'm going to make it spin round. Now the most interesting character flaw to me is being British. Apparently that's a flaw. I find that curious, seeing as the general creators of Rockstar, Sam and Dan Houser themselves, would be British. So I don't know if that's an inside joke. I have a bit of trouble understanding which ethnicities are considered to be bad in GTA, because sometimes I get an influence that they're anti or quite racist towards Asians, and then sometimes I get the feeling that they're quite racist towards where they came from, which is Great Britain. But I'm not going to stay hooked up on that. I'm just going to show you a couple things on this website. Now towards the right here we have the character strengths, and there's a couple weird ones there as well, such as goofy, shy, slow talking. I don't see why this is a character strength, but nonetheless those are the choices. Here is where it gets fairly interesting to me, is on the crisis of your story. And I believe the first very interesting one, because I'm not going to go over them all, you can do that yourselves, was number 6, and that is abducted by aliens and sent back to 2012. Then after that, God, I'm going to switch hands with the camera here because this is not going too well at all, is it? That's what I get for being lazy and not editing a proper video. No, it wasn't that one. Yeah. It's coming somewhere around here, guys. Now they're all pretty humorous and pretty funny, but some of them just stand out more than others in a sense of what we've been talking about before. Now here we have kidnapped by a cult that sacrifices babies to a pagan elf lord. Humorous, yes, but pagan elf lord stands out to me. There's not many places that you hear of elves in the game apart from when it comes to Children of the Mountain and that Life Invader mission that I showed you in the background of the computer screen. When you get rid of all the pop-ups, it's actually an elf sitting on a forest, in a forest, or maybe even on a mountain. It's not too clear, but it is definitely an elf. And that's the second time I've seen that. And obviously we have sacrificing babies, which, you know, some people have speculated would be the activity that the Ultras take in. And then discovers global warming is a hoax. Now, as far as natural disasters go, we are going to be talking about those again because they are not irrelevant. They are still something that I'm looking into. I'm just checking here the last couple to see if there's anything I really wanted to show. Nope. Okay, now here you have your choice of hero. Again, I'm not really going to get stuck on them. Taxidermist, that's one that caught my eye. Pig farmer, ventriloquist, and yeah, that was the last one that caught my eye. And for now, some of these things I'm just rushing over to get them to your attention because I'm going to be making a video tomorrow, and I am going to be making it tomorrow, and it's going to have a lot of the things that I'm bringing up now, but in a lot easier form to see and a lot more understandable, if that makes any sense to you whatsoever. But anyway, here we have the sidekick, a Methhead with a heart. Kind of makes me feel like Jesse Pinkman for some reason. That's kind of how I would describe him, a Methhead with a heart, but there you go. A hermaphrodite with a huge ego. Now, ego, again, a word that keeps coming back and back and back and back. And again, hermaphrodite, anyone who's watched Kappa Laburo before, anyone who's got involved with the Epsilon program will have heard of hermaphrodite talk before in the game, and that's again something that we're going to be coming back to. I do plan on giving you guys a view of Kappa Laburo, the full movie in slow motion, which won't be hard for me to do. I could do that tomorrow morning first thing. I'm just not sure if it will be taken down or not, but why I do that in the first place is because in slow motion there's a lot of flash images that I want you guys to see, and it would take me a series of videos to just break it down and show you like one by one the little sections with the images. So rather than do that, I'd rather slow it down as much as I can, upload it in a 40, because basically if I slow it down as much as I can for you to really see it all, it will turn it from a 10-minute movie into a 40-minute movie. So it seems long, but if and when I do that, which I'll probably just go ahead and try it, but if it does work, I'd advise you to watch it, because there's a lot of shit in that movie that you will not see unless it's in slow motion. But moving on, blah blah blah, MILF team, Hasidic Jew with an attitude, conspiracy theorist, and part-time fury. Now, this is one I wanted help with, guys. Conspiracy theorist, I understand, but what the fuck is a part-time fury? Am I pronouncing that wrong? Is it a part-time furry? I'm not sure, but if anyone knows what the fuck a fury is, I would be keen to know. So thanks in advance for anyone who knows what the fuck they're going on about there. Mermaid. Okay, so here we go. Sex slave with a degree in astrophysics and love of show tunes. Now, astrophysics and show tunes, bear that in mind as well. Astrophysics. We have the priest, circus clown, lesbian with great rack. Who doesn't like a lesbian with a great rack? Then you have the pothead, paranoia, sexual dysfunction, and great love of cliches. Online predator with a heart and a friendly dog. And then back to Methhead again. So nothing too special there, just a couple things that I wanted to like get you guys to see. Then you get to come down here and pick a special power. The powers that are really standing out here are time traveling, being psychotic apparently is a power, bionic, telepathic, Machiavellian. I believe that would be someone who can rise from the dead. I haven't actually researched it, but it makes me think of Machiavelli. But I could be completely off track there, I'll have to check that one out. And yeah, basically megalomaniacal as well was one that caught my eye, but time travelling, telepathic and shape-shifting will be something that I want to build up to. Now, I don't want to let out on what that is just now because you'll be seeing tomorrow basically, but for now we have the antagonist, which we don't really need to go into, and here we have a certain amount of goals that we can look at, and the goals of our movie that we're making theoretically, and this is the one that really caught my eye, and tomorrow you shall understand why, and you'll understand why I brought up all these other things in such a scatty video that probably don't make any sense to you just yet. But this one's for the the viewers you care, I'll say that much. But anyway, in a race against time to disembowel a cheerleader. Now, there's a strong chance that just that will trigger something in some of your minds. Only those of you who have seen a certain TV show before. So that's all I'm going to let you in on for now. Without having selected anything too precise, I'll just give you the outcome. But if you click here, you can see at the top it says, when a British cosplayer mistakenly drowns the mailman in a bathtub, he must team up with a former Amish methhead with a heart and take a shape-shifting Japanese schoolgirl in a race against time to disembowel a cheerleader. Now, it just sounds like a stupid, humorous comedy that Rockstar has given us here, but all will be explained tomorrow, guys. For those who get a chance to watch this before I upload my next video, you did the right thing. I know you're probably sitting there frustrated thinking, God, what a shit one, Herb. Just be patient, guys. And as usual, until then, take it easy and see ya.